who are watching in Connecticut, like how freaky was it that it snowed yesterday?
Oh my God. And yes, today is gorgeous, but yesterday.
I know, thank God, I already went outside. That was insane.
Bizarre. It was actually quite beautiful, but it was weird. I was in Putnam Park, do you know where that is in Reading?
Yeah.
And we were hiking, and all of a sudden, John and I are like, my God, it's November. It's snowing. We should go to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving.
I know. It was nuts. And so, everybody, thank you for joining us this morning. This is the second in our series of spiritual awakening. I am, and I have to put this up there. I am Allison Jacobson, also known as the Safety Mom. And my whole mission is to keep mothers, women in midlife happy, healthy, safe, and strong. And Carla Dietz is with me. So, first of all, do me a favor.
I'm a church pastor and a reverend.
She is a church pastor. She's a reverend, and she's also a dear, dear friend. But do me a favor. Let us know you're here. Just like type something in the comments so we know you're here. If you like it, give a shout out. I'm also going to please go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel, because I'm really trying to grow my channel and, offer you stuff. And I'm going to put the link to my channel right here, because some guy put like this weird thing up, which is very bizarre. So there's my official channel. Okay. So today we're talking about caring for the caregiver, and that looks like a couple of different people. That's mom as a mom, that is anybody who's a caregiver who is caring for a child with a special needs, who is caring for an aging parent or loved one. But we forget to care about ourselves. Hello. And somewhere along the line, we got the idea we shouldn't be caring for ourselves, that we're selfish if we care for ourselves. But it's like what they say on the airlines, you got to take care of yourself first. And I have, hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Thank you.
Vanessa.
Thank you.
I've had Vanessa.
Yes. Vanessa, thank you.
Our pal.
I have a walking buddy, Leah, who's probably on here too. And she has the cutest two little kids who are 2 years old and 9 months old. And Carla, do you remember those days where you were just in the thick of it?
I totally do.
Like no sleep, right? You're just running on empty. And every morning we start our dog walk, and I'm like, so how much sleep did you get last night?
Oh my God. And my daughter didn't sleep really over through the night for 18 months. And I was a single mom. It was brutal. It was brutal, but she's turned out great. So
she is. And I think that's the point. Like these moms that are exhausted can't see the forest from the trees, right? Like you don't think there's an end in sight. And
you really can't, though. Like literally, sorry to interrupt you, but when you are that tired, you literally can't see straight. Your senses are off. They're completely off.
Yeah, you're literally like exhaustion just gives you that mom brain. And you need to be reminded that you're a good mom. So for every mom out there that's got little ones, rocking, mom, you're doing it. You're doing it. And I think
any parent.
Yeah,
doing it.
Yeah,
grandparent or caregiver.
Well, and a teen, man, the moms of teens. I think we really need to be reminded that we're good parents, because our teens are constantly telling us we're not, right? Like we always feel like we're not doing a good job.
I know. It's true.
It's hard.
So I thought maybe this morning we could open with a responsive prayer.
Yes.
That would work for you. And it's in two parts. So I'm going to start with "You Can Trust God." And everybody can join in with that. And then Allison is going to say a line, and then we will come back and say, "You can trust God" again. Do you want to put that in the chat for people?
I am. Hey, Rhonda. And for those of us who you're new to what we're doing on these Sunday mornings, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to go to church. This is just about feeling good about yourself and being spiritual and recognizing there's a higher power. So, it can be you can trust God. It could be you can trust your higher spirit. You can trust the universe. So it's all good.
It's all good. So we'll start, and I will start with, and I ask everyone to join in with me. You can trust God.
In the moments of celebration, at the high points of life, God is there. God celebrates.
You can trust God.
In the dark moments, at the low points of life, God is there and God sustains.
You can trust God.
In the moments of doubt, when decisions fail you, God is there and God clarifies.
You can trust God.
In the certainty of faith, when you are inspired, God is there. God goes with you. Let us be mindful of the presence of God in our lives today.
Amen. So today for Mother's Day, I thought I'd read a little snippet out of the gospel. Again, even if you're not religious, it's just we go to the Bible for stories that empower us in life. And this was a very interesting story from the Gospel of John. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home. And this is such an important message for Mother's Day because Jesus knew that things were not going to go well. And he offered his mother to John and John to his mother as people to take care of one another. And I think that that's really important because, you know, it's not just biological motherhood that counts. It's caring and loving and accepting and adopting and fostering and all those wonderful things that you can do for one another.
It's true, you know, it's about being a caregiver for everybody who needs it now. And we're seeing so many good examples of people taking care of their neighbors. I mean, it really is awesome when you focus on the good of what's going on, because there is a lot of good out there.
There is a lot of good, and amidst some of the really negative and the really difficult, there are people who are striving to show that they care, and that's hard. It makes you vulnerable, and it makes you sort of go against the grain of society in a way. But I think it's really important.
Well, you know, I'd love to talk about that whole concept of vulnerability for a second, because especially for women and moms, like, we are the Wonder Woman. You know, Greg gave me a card this morning about, you know, how wonderful I am and I keep the family going. And, you know, it's hard for us to be vulnerable enough to accept care. You know, it's so easy for us to say, oh, you know, I can take care of it. I can take care of it. And it's almost embarrassing when you're somebody like us and we say, I need help.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't anymore, but I did. You know, when I was going through my divorce and when I was pretty much bankrupt, and, you know, I needed help. And how embarrassing when, as a woman, you're supposed to, you know, have it all together. And that's what, you know, society is telling us now, of lean in and everything. It's hard to admit vulnerability. And I think that's the most courageous, brave act you can do, is be vulnerable.
And I think that you really do, you personally, Allison, I'm going to throw you some accolades here. I think you do that. I think you put yourself out there in front of the people and you say it like it is and you come from sincerity and caring. And I think that you're a really good role model in that way. And I
Well,
love you for that.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's talk about things that we can do to take care of ourselves, the caregivers. And I found this wonderful article that gave us a list of 10 things, and then I wrote about it. The first thing you can do is a listening meditation. Just practice experiencing the sound around you as it's happening. And if you get irritated by that sound, I don't know, the sound of a baby crying or somebody hammering or work, just see if you can step into that sound and absorb it. And over time, your attitude towards sounds of any kind will adapt to your tolerance and your acceptance of it. And of course, it always helps to put yourself in a place of a waterfall or soft music or something like that. But if you can't, try to see in your ears, or if you will, the sound and how you can relate to it.
Well, and talking about meditation, I've been doing, I meditate every morning, but I've been doing this meditation group on Tuesday mornings, and I go and sit outside because I have a waterfall in my backyard, which is great.
Lucky.
It's awesome. But I also hear the traffic, and you're right. I think it's easy to meditate when it's the perfect scenario. It's hard to meditate when you have all of those other sounds and thoughts coming to you. And here's the key, guys, about meditating. It's not fighting off that stuff. It's accepting it, like Carla said, and being okay with it and then coming back. And that's what it's about with everything, right? Don't try to fight off everything. Accept it, be with it, and then go on.
And of course, it's not easy. It takes practice. You can't just do it like that. It really takes practice to learn how to do that. And did you just put "You Can Trust God" up there again?
Yeah.
I saw. Okay. You can trust God in the sound. Okay. Second thing. This is important. I think this is really important for me because I'm a writer. Keep a journal. Start your days or end your nights by noticing or writing down your thoughts and your feelings. Take a few minutes several times a week to work through what's going on inside you. Acknowledge how your emotions shift as you become more and more aware of your emotions. And somebody really wise once said, the more you can accept, the more you will be given.
Yeah.
So it'll just keep piling on, but that's okay. Do that for you and give yourself the attention that your emotions deserve.
And Jody's here. Hey, Jody, happy
Hi, Jody.
Mother's Day. And Jody's right. She said start small. It's true. If we try to do all of this at once, it doesn't work because it doesn't feel natural anymore. So start out with those small things of how you can care for yourself.
I love a simple gratitude list.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, here's the 5 things that I've been grateful for. No matter how good or bad the day was, to write out 5 things is great.
Yep.
Here's one that I thought was very interesting, and I hadn't really thought about it before, but it's true. Eye gazing, just literally eye gazing. Gaze into the eyes of your baby or a pet or your partner. Eye contact can be awkward at first, but it makes for a social connection that we're all missing. It reminds you, eye contact literally reminds your soul that you are not alone. So, and even if you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, and I don't know about you, but I always look a lot better in the mirror than I do in pictures or video, because you got that look, you know exactly where to stand. That gives you a sense of connection with yourself because the world can be a very lonely place. And you need that physical eye contact to really connect in with people.
And something that you and I were talking about, and I think it's really important. And as many of you know, along with what I do here, I'm the CEO of First Candle, which is the national nonprofit committed to ending sudden infant death syndrome. And we also provide bereavement support. And I think it's very easy to not connect with someone because it's again goes back to that vulnerability, right? You're opening yourself up and you're asking for that open. And so often when you're talking to somebody who needs care, you'll say, "How are you doing?" And the person will say, "Fine." Or especially when we're dealing with bereaved families, you're asking that question, "How are you doing?" It's easy to say fine. But if you stop for a second and look at the person and say, "No, we're not moving on yet. How are you really doing?" And take that breath and that moment to allow them to be. It's very easy to push past when it's Connor's birthday or anniversary to say to people, "It's fine, thank you." But to really acknowledge his life, or when you are facing a challenge or a sadness. So take that moment with a person and be open to say that to a person.
Great. Absolutely. And it's interesting how automatic our responses are. I do a lot of memorial services and funerals as a pastor. And it's awkward because you know that people are grieving. You know that there's a lot of stuff underneath. And yet everybody says, "Oh, hi, how are you? I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm just fine, fine, fine." And you know that they're not. But it's just a social nicety and habit that we have.
Yep.
Object meditation. Number 4. I love this. Simply sit and really look at the food on your plate. I mean, how many times do you make a really nice dinner and you just wolf it down and you don't really look at the colors or a bowl of fruit on the table? I always try to have, I'm not a big fruit person, actually. I'm more of a veggie person, but I always try to have a bowl of apples and oranges and bananas on the table because of the color.
Yes.
And because it just makes you go for that healthy, good thing and know that that's feeding your body. So object meditation on things like that are really important.
Yeah.
Let's see. 5, be one with nature. Our favorite thing, Allison. Embrace the local nature around you. Drink in your yard, the grass, the flowers, the many different kinds of trees. And you know what I'm mad for? I'm absolutely bonkers for tree bark. The different kinds of tree bark. Yes, if you go hiking and you look at trees, and of course right now the leaves are so beautiful in the flowers, but like even in the middle of the winter, if you go hiking in a woods or a park, there's so many different kinds of tree bark, the way they protect the tree. They're absolutely, the texture and the color and the feeling of them is just remarkable.
Yeah, that actually is very interesting. I don't know, we haven't talked, and I think it would be cool to do a whole Facebook. Oh yeah, Abby. So Abby and I are totally about the ocean. Like it's
Abby.
Visual, it's every sense for me. Like I can literally feel my blood pressure coming down. But I think we should also do something on grounding. And for those of you who don't know what grounding is, it's literally being barefoot in the grass, the beach, anywhere where you're feeling the energy from the earth coming through your body, which you can't do when you have shoes on. And Abby and I know that, being at the beach all the time, like just our feet in the sand, there's something about that.
You know, there's a wonderful book written by Diana Butler Bass, who is a theologian and writer, fabulous, and it's called Grounded. And it's just about that how it's so important, especially in this cyber age, that we just reconnect with the earth.
Yeah.
You know, that we just find that earth mother in us and we reconnect with it and get off our devices and get off our televisions and all our news cycle and just reconnect with the earth. It's very healing.
Yeah, completely.
Which brings us to switching up things, switching up your routine. Take a different route to work next time you get to go to work. And if you're staying at home, do things differently, like getting up earlier to spend time alone with a cup of coffee. And I'm doing this because Allison told me she gets up at 5:30. And so now I get up at 6:30. So it's a little better.
There you go.
And I do have an entire hour without my beloved husband, whom I love, but it's just nice to be alone.
Right?
It's just nice to be alone for that hour with God and my coffee. I absolutely love it. Or I was going to say to you, about switching up routine, if you are an early bird and you do that as a habit, take some time to stay in bed once in a while.
Yeah.
Just stay in bed for an extra half hour. Tell everybody to go away and just stay in bed and see how that feels.
And I think, you know, it's switching up routine is so hard in so many respects. And we could do another whole post about this and blog, and I think we should, about even when you're in a bad relationship or in a negative situation, you tend to stay because it's what you know and it's the routine and it's comfortable. And there we go again with the courage. To have the courage of switching up a routine or switching up what you feel is comfortable. And that's what it takes to find happiness sometimes too. I mean, we see ourselves repeating patterns of friendships and relationships, and switching up a routine really can lead to happiness.
And it can change your life radically. You know, you can find out something about yourself and your route to wherever you're going or another person just by switching a simple thing. It can change your life radically.
Yeah.
And we were talking about technology. That's number 8. Unplug from technology. Back away from your phone, your tablet, your computer. And I know, believe me, I know it is hard. I am addicted. I am so addicted. I mean, you know, for me, it's a big deal to leave my phone in another room at night when I'm sleeping. And there's
Yeah.
absolutely no reason why I can't. And sometimes I say, well, I like to play that Scrabble just one more time before I go to sleep, or I needed to know what time it is. I could get a clock. I mean, I could just get a clock. But, so it's important for all of us to back away from our technology, because science has documented that looking at your phone or anything, a tablet or television, computer, anything with that blue light in the background will scientifically disturb your sleep.
Well, you guys can go back and look at the video, the Facebook Live I did with Ingrid Purr, who lives in Fairfield, and she's a sleep consultant. And that's exactly what she talks about. And she also talks about getting blue light glasses that get rid of all of that blue light, so it can help you unwind too.
Yeah, it's really important. Here we are in the pause, and number 9 is create pauses in your life. Believe it or not, and Allison, I think you and I are really guilty of this, things can wait.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Things can wait a little bit. We can pause before doing the next thing. The Montessori method of teaching is all about doing one thing, setting it up, doing it, and then putting it away before you start another. And the other thing you can do is, and this is really hard, is pause before you respond to people.
Man, you know what? I swear to God, and this is what, especially moms, please listen. Just because your kids, especially your teens, think it's a life or death issue, it's not. You can ignore them for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes. It's okay. And again, getting back from my first candle piece, having a crying baby who's colicky or anything, yes, it will get on every last nerve. I am telling you right now, I am giving you permission. If your baby is crying and you're a single mom or there's no one else around to help, it is okay to put that baby in his or her crib with nothing else in it and walk away. A crying baby is safe. What's not safe is you becoming unhealthy. Take that pause. It's okay. We don't have to jump every time you think somebody needs you.
And that's great. Thank you for that. I think that's really important information. It's also important to acknowledge that all of us, every single one of us, at some time or another gets mad. We get mad. Anger is an emotion that is part of our lives. It's part of our DNA. Nobody can avoid getting angry or mad sometimes. The trick is when you feel that way, and my husband and I have this conversation a lot, is to stop. Have your anger, acknowledge it, and pause before you respond to whatever it is that somebody is saying.
Man, and that's what I try to work on, because immediately you go into this reactive mode. And being a divorced person, I think that's one of the biggest challenges for every person going through a divorce. People know what your trigger button is, right? And they will hit it, and you are going to want to respond. And so one of my dearest friends and I said, it's the Brady Bill, right? So the Brady Bill is when, you have to have a pause before you can get a firearm. Well, that's the Brady Bill we respond to.
That's
Whether
great.
it's a client, a friend, a loved one, take that pause. Step away from the computer or the social media channel. Don't respond. And
Yep.
I try to
Especially
do that.
online. Yes. That's
And Jody's right. Jody, it takes a lot of strength to walk away.
Yeah.
A lot of strength.
Right. And you're right. People both in real life, some people both in real life and online in particular, are experts at goading your anger. So don't let them have that power. Don't let anybody have your power to stop, think before you react. That's good advice, Allison. Thank you. And then the last thing I had was connect to your senses. And speaking of babies, do it like babies do. Babies are constantly learning their environment. What is the smell? What is the temperature? What is the taste of the air? What are the sounds and what are the colors? And really, really spend time doing that. And that one of the things that I love about getting up earlier is that you have that time to really take in your environment without anybody distracting you.
Yeah, it really is good. And, all of these tips are so great for all of us, but truly, every one of us most likely is a caregiver for somebody. Um, we have to be the one to put on our own mask first. I mean, Carla, I'm a caregiver for my husband, a caregiver for my son, a caregiver for my kids, and I've already rescheduled all my kids' doctor's appointments, but I'm supposed to have two. Have I rescheduled mine? Nope, nope, because that's not as important. But it is important because if I go down, the whole family goes down, and they know that.
It's super
So
important. So
yeah.
I'm gonna check you on that
Thank
tomorrow
you.
on Monday
Yes,
morning.
when I
I'm
can
gonna
when
send
I
you
can
an email and say, did you do that?
yeah,
Okay.
and that's what we also need. We need to, look at that Abby who's online. I'm always on her case about what'd you do? What'd you do? Because we do. We have to do that. And you know, talking about caregivers, and especially when you're caring for someone with a I want to when I was still walking. We didn't know the extent of what was going to happen with MS. And we had all of these dreams. It's our second marriage, my second marriage. And I had all of these images of what we were going to do in our retirement in terms of hiking and going here and doing all of this. And it became very apparent that a lot of those things we weren't going to be able to do. And as a caregiver, I was a little resentful, right? I'll be honest. I had this vision of what I was going to be able to do. So all of a sudden, I was like, well, I'm going to have to reframe my future because I can't do them with my husband. And then I stopped and I went to the next level saying, well, wait a second. There's a bunch of other partners and spouses of caregivers out there. Maybe I can find them and do things with them. And then I went, well, wait a second. I don't even know those people. I don't know if I'm going to like those people. Why can't I do what I want to do with my girlfriends or my kids? I can still go hiking with my girlfriends, and that's okay. And for anybody who's caring for someone with a disability, this is not being selfish. This is caring for yourself as well. So you don't have to do everything with that partner. I can go and visit my girlfriend in Arizona, which is what I'm going to do, in August. I can go hiking with you, Carla. We can still do things with our spouse who's disabled, but I can still fulfill those other things that I need to be happy, healthy, safe, and strong. So it's not being selfish. It is being caring for myself. And that's so important. So everybody type in here. I want to hear, what is something you're going to do for yourself today? Whether you're a mom, whether you're not a mom, a caregiver, what is one thing you can do for yourself today? Carla, what are you going to do for yourself today?
I am going hiking because I love it. And it's a perfect day. I'm going to go to Lake Mohegan. And by the way, that Putnam Park that we went to yesterday, it is a beautiful historical preservation. And I believe it's all wheelchair accessible.
Really? Putnam Park?
It's in Reading. It's right on Route 58 Black Rock Turnpike. Just goes right out. Yeah, it was really nice too.
I'm going to assume Greg is on here. So Greg, you're going to check that out. And then maybe the four of us can go hiking.
It's beautiful.
Which would be really cool.
Jody said something.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard. My things. Oh, I already took a long walk this morning. All right, Jody. Oh, and here's another plug. As First Candle, right? Here's a way to run and walk and stay healthy and do something to support families.
Oh, yeah.
27,000 moms and dads will not have their babies with them this Mother's Day because of stillbirth or SIDS. And as First Candle is a nonprofit, we're all struggling to figure out how to raise money. Here's an easy way, you guys. You can go to firstcandle.org right on the front of our site. You can sign on from Mother's Day to Father's Day. Run, walk, challenge. Now, here's the deal. You don't have to sign up today. You can sign up at any time between Mother's Day to Father's Day. But what it is week 1 is a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. Week 2 is a 3.1. Week 3 is a 3.1. But week 4, 5, and 6 is 6.2. If you do all of that in 6 weeks, you will have completed a marathon. Now, I never thought I'd complete a marathon. And let me tell you, 3.1 miles over a week is nothing. You do that basically walking your dog.
Oh,
So,
it's over a week. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I get you.
anybody
So
can do that.
where do you sign up for this?
Firstcandle.org. I'm going to type that in here. And I know that Abby has signed on. It's $35 that goes to First Candle. You will get a bib you can print out and you can wear as you walk. And all the money goes to provide bereavement support services that we do for any grieving family. Because here's the deal, 27,000 babies are still dying in the midst of this pandemic. So imagine this. You are having a baby die and you're alone in the hospital. You are experience a stillbirth and you are alone in the hospital. I can't imagine anything worse, having to grieve the death of your baby alone. And that's where First Candle comes in. We have online support groups. We have bereavement materials. We have everything to support you. I will do Facebook Lives. We do FaceTime. But help First Candle still do this. So anytime in the 6 weeks between Mother's Day and Father's Day,
And it's
you can
$25.
sign up. $35 and it all goes to First Candle. So think of doing this. I see another new message below. Patty Carroll, right. So everybody, happy Mother's Day. Next week, what are we talking about next week, Carla? I can't even remember.
Me
Oh,
neither.
I think it's all about you. You. And especially so with the safety mom. Hey, Luann. Luann is one of my dearest friends. She's down in Georgia. We talk all the time.
Where in Georgia?
She's right outside Atlanta.
So
You
is
think
Patty.
by now, yeah, I stay with Luann and her husband whenever I go there. Luann is amazing. She is the CEO of a company called Regal Lager. They are the distributor for amazing baby products. She is a huge supporter of First Candle, but she's a dear friend. And she is, along with being a killer CEO of a company, she is a grandma. She is watching her baby now and trying to do all of this.
Wow.
So she's amazing. But, sign up, subscribe to Like My Safety Mom Facebook page, because I am talking to anybody in midlife who is trying to be happy, healthy, safe, and strong. We all need to support each other. What does the second half of your life look like? Because it's time for you to live your life. And then go subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's in there as well. I've got a lot I'm talking about. There's resources. I did a DIY project yesterday. I shared with Carla. I'm going to be posting that this week.
That's nice.
Because if I can do DIY, anybody can. So there you go, everybody. Enjoy, have happy Mother's Day, get out, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.